Well, good morning, Miramar. I'm your host, Tamara G, and welcome to the show today. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. Of course, it is City of Miramar at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with me, my first guest of the day, it is Sandra Vesey Einhorn. She is the Executive Director of the Coordinating Council of Broward. And Sandra, you're here to talk about affordable housing, particularly where it comes into play on the November ballot, which, by the way, we are less than, 3 weeks away?
That's right.
From,
3 weeks from today is Election Day.
From Election Day. So tell us all about what is going on the ballot.
Well, Tamara, thank you for having me.
No problem.
We know that the ballot is a crowded one, and so we are looking to spread awareness to have the Broward County voters vote to create a Broward County Affordable Housing Trust Fund. It is on the bottom half of page 4, and the trust fund will create a mechanism for Broward County as a county, for local municipalities and other stakeholders to be able to invest in so that we can promote, create, and sustain affordable housing options throughout Broward County.
Okay, so that is the big question, big problem, Sandra, is what is affordable housing here in South Florida? I mean, when people are paying $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 for a one bedroom, what is affordable housing? How does that come into play? How do we know what that is?
So when we talk about affordable housing, we really talk about the affordability of housing, right?
Okay.
So what we really mean is whatever your monthly income is, my monthly income is, the audience's monthly income, not spending more than 30% of their monthly income on housing. And so what happens is because land costs are high and development costs are high and construction costs are through the roof, it doesn't become affordable to be able to build what people can afford here in Broward. We rely very heavily on low-wage jobs here in Broward County, tourism being our most precious industry. A lot of these are low-wage jobs. So what we have is the difference between what wages are and what people can afford and what the market allows for housing to really be based on the cost. And that discrepancy is what doesn't allow people in Broward County to be able to live. 58% of Broward County residents are considered cost burdened, which means spending more than 30% of their monthly income on housing.
Okay, and is that housing just for one person, or is that housing for a family of 4? Or how do you even, I guess, determine what that would look like, affordable housing?
So again, when we talk about affordable housing, it's really the affordability. So if you're a family of 4 or you're a household of 1 or it's just a couple, what is your total monthly income? And 30% of that is really what you should be spending on housing to be able to really live within your means. And when you're spending more than 30% on housing and your cost burden, you're in that 58%, what other monthly expenses are you not able to afford because all that money is going to rent?
Just to have a roof over your head.
Correct. So, does that mean you're not able to pay for childcare or health care or food, or are you simply not able to be a healthy consumer of the economy because you're stuck in your apartment or your house because you can't afford to do anything else, you're spending all your money on rent?
And so with you all wanting people to vote yes on this amendment on the ballot, what will that do for residents of Broward County?
Great question. So it's important for people to know that this is not a tax increase. There's no cost to taxpayers. There's been a lot sort of happening behind the scenes over the last couple of years. The Broward County Commission has made a commitment to investing into affordable housing. We've got a couple municipalities, a couple cities around the county that are doing the same. And so the ballot initiative simply creates the mechanism of the trust fund. And it's important to have that mechanism because we look at the state housing trust fund, which is known as Sadowski. It's been in the paper a lot. Sadowski gets rated every year. So we know that we're not getting our fair share from Tallahassee. We're sending up significantly more dollars to Tallahassee annually than we are bringing back. So what we want to do is sort of what's within our control, and really what's within our control is what happens here at the county level. So by creating this mechanism, by putting it in the charter, it's really just an announcement really to Broward County residents to say, hey, the county's serious about affordable housing. And hopefully when this passes on November 6th, we'll have that mechanism where all the funds that the current county commission commits to affordable housing will go in that trust fund, and it then becomes a lockbox. In fact, just this morning, the Sun Sentinel published an op-ed from our board chair County Commissioner, former State Senator Nan Rich, and the title of it is "We Need a Lockbox for Housing." So we need a mechanism where when a government entity or really any stakeholder makes a commitment to put dollars into this bucket for housing, that it's safe, that it can't be used for something else at a later date, that it stays for affordable housing programs throughout the county.
Okay, so I'm thinking and hearing all of this, and if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Sandra Vesey Einhorn. She's the Executive Director of the Coordinating Council of Broward, and she is here to advocate for everyone to vote yes on the Broward County Affordable Housing Trust Fund. It doesn't have an amendment number, but where can you find it again?
It's on the bottom half of page 4.
Awesome. Okay. So everything you're saying sounds great. I'm thinking, why would someone not vote yes for this, particularly when it seems like in South Florida, we don't have enough places that people can afford to live here. Like, people are moving. I know plenty of friends that have moved to the Atlanta area, to the Carolinas. They move anywhere but stay here because they cannot afford it.
Correct. So actually, South Florida is the most cost-burdened metro region in the nation.
Awesome.
More cost burden, yeah, not more cost burden than New York or San Francisco or Hawaii. Again, going back to the cost of housing being so high and wages being low.
Okay.
So in other areas that I just mentioned, the cost of housing might be higher, but wages are also higher. So that discrepancy is really what makes for this sort of critical point where we're at when we've got this cost burden. We have no opposition for the trust fund, which is great. It's perhaps the one thing that Republicans and Democrats can agree on.
Thank
and
you.
I think that's really because people understand, you know, our tagline for this campaign is affordable housing affects you, me, us.
Okay.
So we know that 58% of Broward County residents are cost burdened, as I mentioned before. And a lot of these people don't even realize that they're cost burdened because they don't know that they should be spending only 30% of their monthly income on housing. And so while 58% of the population in Broward might not realize, hey, they're talking about me, everybody knows someone who's affected by this. You know, teachers seem to be like the poster child for the issue, but that's a great example. You know, in a world where
so
politics
who's
is
educated, you've got somebody who's teaching your kids, and they can't afford
to live here. Correct. And so if you're a teacher and you could make the same amount of money somewhere else, but your housing costs are half, you know, what's going to keep you in Broward County? And so how can we ensure that for jobs like public school teachers, and it's public school teachers is just, you know, scratching the surface, but how can we ensure that we can continue to retain and recruit talent into the area? How can we keep that talent pipeline going and encouraging people when they get their degrees to come down to Paradise, which it is. We live in paradise, am I right?
Yes, we do.
But you know, how can we ensure that we have quality housing available to people at different income levels? You know, before the show started, we were talking about the fact that we need to look at different housing models for different people. You know, there's a term in housing referred to as micro units. You know, micro units are smaller units. You know, there are millennials and seniors. Correct. You know, there are millennials and seniors and you know, college students and lots of people that live by themselves that don't need a big apartment. You know, they just need something small that they can afford to live in. And then again, they could be outside of their apartment because they can afford to do the things that you want to do if only you can afford to live where you are. So how can we as a community, business, nonprofit, government, and faith-based really work together to identify proven solutions and strategies to be able to address the affordable housing issue? Because really, in order to address affordable housing, everyone's got to do something different. And so we're really all sort of working towards that. And the trust fund is just one of those strategies.
And for people who want more information, how can they get that?
You can visit www.browardhousingtrust.com. That is the website that we have available for the ballot initiative. Most likely after the election, we'll keep that website up for just general housing affordability and just to educate people. A lot of times housing affordability is an education thing.
Absolutely.
You know, you might think you know what affordable housing is, but really it's not what you think. It's the affordability of housing. And so it's important to really educate residents, business owners, and elected officials on what affordable housing is, why it isn't, and why it's really important for us to have it countywide.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Sandra Vesey Einhorn. She is the Executive Director of the Coordinating Council of Broward. For more information about the Broward County Affordable Housing Trust Fund and where it is on the ballot and why you should be voting yes for it, please go to browardhousingtrust.com.
Great.
Thanks so much.
Thank you
Sandra.
so much. Thank you for having me.
We'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Christopher Calder from Tanjore at this beautiful downtown Boca Raton. We're going to be partnering with Mystic India and Miramar Culture Center for this beautiful dining experience. So in this dinner, we have your chicken thali pe, which is your chicken cooked in the tandoor, served over a rice pancake with Brussels sprouts. And then the most traditional dish that we've done is the saag corn, which is ground spinach. For your dessert, we have this exclusive gulab jamun panna cotta. Hope to see you on Friday, October 19, or visit us at Tanjore in Boca Raton.
Hi, and welcome to Good Morning Miramar. I'm Tamara G. And here with me we have Paula Anderson-Wartz. She is a DO MPH, Associate Professor, Family Medicine at Nova Southeastern University. We also have Kay Martinique from Kay's Paradise Hair, and they're going to be talking today about the 5K Hair Peace Run and Walk. And that is PEACE, Hair Peace Run Walk. So good morning, and thank you so much for joining me.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
So tell me a little bit about this 5K and why it's Hair Peace, PEACE, Run Walk at the Miramar Regional Park.
Well, the Hair Peace 5K Run Walk was started to bring awareness to mixed connective tissue disease. We happen to know an individual who is an active person, attorney locally, and we saw her go from someone very active to someone who had difficulty on certain days even getting out of bed. And Kay happened to be her stylist, and said, well, you know, we really need to do something to help her and also bring awareness to mixed connective tissue disease, because not a lot of people know about it.
Okay, because I was just about to say, I have never heard of this before. Tell me what this disease is about.
Well, mixed connective tissue disease is an overlapping disease. It actually encompasses 3 different diseases usually, and that's scleroderma, lupus, and polymyositis. And those diseases in and of itself, people probably say, you know, I probably heard about lupus, but maybe not the other, because they're not common. And it's a combination of those 3, and people will have varying symptoms that come from each one of them.
Okay, now the scleroderma, was that what Bernie Mac had, or no? That was maybe that was another disease. Another disease. But the fact that there's 3 all in one, how does this happen? Like, is it something that we're eating? Is it something that, you know, can be fixed?
Good question. So it's an autoimmune condition, and many things cause it. We don't really know exactly, but the body starts to attack itself. And so the symptoms can vary from joint pains, just fatigue, tiredness, and with scleroderma, their skin and their features actually change because the skin begins to tighten. So someone could look one way today and by the next year look totally different. And because it causes contractures, they may have difficulty using their hands. So it just varies from person to person how severe the disease is, but it can be very debilitating. And there are medications that decrease the symptoms, but it doesn't actually cure the disease. But the unfortunate thing is some of the medications that help people also cause devastating symptoms, and hair loss is part of it. So they can have hair loss from the disease itself, like lupus, but they can also have more devastating hair loss just by the medications that are
taking.
required.
So, Kay, that is where you come in, because we all know how much we love our hairstylists. And we tell y'all everything. And sometimes you all notice things before we do. And did you notice this with your client first?
Well, the client, in particular, her name is Tanya. And at that time, we have Deborah Wood was her stylist at that time and still is. So we noticed throughout the years, because she is a long-standing client, and we noticed throughout the years that she was losing her hair. And after a while, it's like overnight, she just ended up, her hair just gone.
Okay.
So Deborah and I, we spoke about it, and we contact Dr. Anderson also is one of is Deborah's stylist. And what we did was we reached out to her and a few of the other ladies of Women of Hope. After we spoke to them, let them know the vision, or let them know what we thought, and give them give them the information from what we saw Tanya went through. And eventually we had a meeting, and after that meeting, we talked about hairpiece, and we wanted to draw awareness to the disease, because I had no clue what that was about, the name of the disease was about. So after speaking to the Women of Hope, Paula Anderson, Dr. Anderson, we decided to
put this together.
Absolutely.
And again, it's happening this weekend, this Saturday, October 20th. I'm going to put it here on the camera so you can see. October 20th, it's going to be at Miramar Regional Park, 16801 Miramar Parkway. And you can register online. You can go to active.com. I know all of our walkers and runners that are out there. I know that you would love to come and be a part of this. And pretty much anyone who would love to help and to create awareness of this. You can also search for Hairpiece 5K. And I wanted to talk to Kay a little bit more about that, because we all know that women, as women, that our hair is, something that we treasure it. And when you lose it, regardless of why you're losing it, it can create even more problems, self-esteem issues, other than body issues. So how important did you feel like it was to bring about all these people to come and support this project on Saturday?
It's very important, and one of the reasons we have those ladies on the flyer that you're looking at right now. These ladies, they are recipients of our last year walk.
Oh, great.
And
Jean Thomas and Enid Nation.
Yes, and what they are very vibrant women, and they are the ones that would walk around whether they have a wig or not. They would not mind, but it's something that is very, it makes you feel kind of not cute, not happy, not, and you see, the confidence is not there. And these ladies might, they might strut and decide that they're fine with it, but you have the others that are very self-conscious. So Hairpiece 5K, what we decided to do is to get wigs, make wigs for these ladies. And while we were going through, a couple of months ago, we were talking about it, we also, because a few of the ladies, they don't mind wearing their hair shaved, gone, but a few others do mind. So we have decided to incorporate other services for the walk in regard. Yes, so
okay.
Yeah.
So the key is to give options, because that's what we found, that it is important to feel self-confidence, and because it impacts people in many different ways.
Is it just women, or does it affect men as well? This disease,
the 80% of the people that are affected are women, so there are men that
We're
get
so
it.
lucky all the time.
But there
Great.
are men, and if there were men that wanted a hair prosthesis, we would be happy to work with them as well, but the majority are women. And Kay's business really focuses on women, but we don't discriminate. But our motivation for doing it was Tanya. And again, we've expanded our services because we realize that some of the women are confident enough to wear it, but what we like is that we give them options because, as you mentioned, self-esteem and feeling good about yourself impacts you in so many different ways that we wanted to give women options, and it's about service. So we want to serve women with mixed connective tissue disease because it's devastating not only to the patient, but also to their families to see them change as far as their needs and how they look and how they interact with their family and friends. So that was the impetus for us starting the Hairpiece 5K 3 years ago.
Awesome. Well, again, it's happening this Saturday, October 20th, 6 a.m. Y'all getting an early start.
Registration. Yeah.
Registration is
The
at
race,
6.
yeah, the race starts right at 7, but 6 a.m. to 9:30, and it says here race will begin promptly at 7 a.m. You're going to want that because it's still warm out there, so you're going to want to go ahead and get the race over. 5K walk run at Miramar Regional Park, 16801 Miramar Parkway in Miramar. It's a $35 registration fee. And again, for more information, you can register online at active.com and search for Hairpiece 5K. Peace is spelled P-E-A-C-E. If people want more information on how they can contact either one of you, how can they do so, Dr. Anderson?
Kay Martinick, she is the program coordinator, and her number is 954-401-2313. You can always reach us by going to www.hairpiece5k, and there is a contact section. We're also on Facebook. And if they want to go to our not-for-profit organization, that's the parent company, it's Women of Hope, and that is www.womenofhope.com. womenofhopeintl.com.
Okay, perfect. So Kay Martinique from Kay's Paradise Hair. Be sure to get in touch with her. Again, she's right here at City Hall, right here at 11611 City Hall Promenade, right there across from Juana's. I know exactly where you are.
Salons.
The salons there, Salons Beauty and Spa Suites. So Kay Martinique. And then, of course, Dr. Paula Anderson-Wartz. She is an associate professor of family medicine, the Family Medicine Clinic at Nova Southeastern University, and also part of Women of Hope. So for all of this and more information, please give them a call. Give that website one more time.
It's hairpiece5k.com, and peace is P-E-A-C, so that would be hair, H-A-I-R-P-E-A-C, 5k.com.
P-E-A-C-E. Right, because it's not a piece as in hair piece. It's hair as in please give these women and men peace, and hopefully and definitely trying to find hopefully a cure or something that will help.
Yes.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tamara.
Appreciate it.
Thank
We'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Christopher Calder from Tanjore at this beautiful downtown Boca Raton. We're going to be partnering with Mystic India and Miramar Culture Center for this beautiful dining experience. So in this dinner we have your chicken thali pe, which is your chicken cooked in the tandoor, served over a rice pancake with Brussels sprouts. And then the most traditional dish that we've done is the saag corn, which is ground spinach. For your dessert, we have this exclusive gulab jamun panna cotta. Hope to see you on Friday, October 19, or visit us at Tanjore in Boca Raton.
Hi, you're watching Good Morning Miramar. I'm your host, Tamara G. And my guest here today is no stranger to the show or to me because we've been friends for many, many years. But this is Jonathan Spikes. He is the founder and executive director of Affirming Youth Foundation. Welcome back to the show, Jonathan.
Thank you for having me.
And so you have started something that has grown immensely in the, 2 years since you've been on the show with me.
Yes.
Tell us about Affirming Youth Foundation.
Oh my God, I am so excited about the Affirming Youth Foundation. We finally opened up the Affirming Youth Center.
Yes.
That happened on August the 4th of this year. It is a great, great space, a great place that we had a lot of good funders that came in to make this possible. And it is a space where kids could come after school, They can get homework assistance. They get tutoring assistance. And we also offer them social and emotional classes.
Okay. And this has been, I don't want to say a pet project. It's been almost like what you live for, because you have been trying to get this done for so long. Why has this been so near and dear to your heart?
Well, it's been near and dear to my heart because, as we spoke before, I grew up as a child that experienced multiple traumas, from sexual molestation to seeing my brother get shot, and then growing up more and seeing another brother get murdered. And so these multiple traumas affected me in my life in so many different ways that I said, you know what? I decided to go to mental health counseling, and the benefits of mental health counseling was so emotionally transformative. I said I have to go and tell somebody else.
Okay. And you know what? I think that's another thing too, is that we don't realize our kids today, they see and hear everything. Remember when we were kids, it was always, this is grown folks' business, or that was kept away from the kids. But now these kids, first of all, they're right in the middle of it, the smack dab in the middle of it. And they're seeing and hearing everything that's going on in this world that can't be good for your psyche. It's not good for my psyche. So I'm an adult. So, as a kid, how do they handle some of the things that are going on?
Right. That's the most important thing. Giving kids a space to talk about it. Back in the day, like you said, we would never talk about it.
Right.
My brother, we were playing in the house. My mom told him to go take out the trash. He went to take out the trash. Someone was shooting at someone else. The bullet hit my brother. He came back into the house. Blood was on the floor. The paramedics was in the house. The police was in the house. And a whole bunch of people we did not know was in our house. They cleaned up the blood. The people left. And we never talked about it.
Like it never happened.
Like it never happened. But it did happen.
Right.
And creating a space for kids to talk about these things because they do see it.
Right.
It is a reality to them. And just because you don't talk about it doesn't mean that it's not affecting them in some type of way.
Whether that is in school and how they're dealing with each other or dealing with getting their work done, even as they grow up and try to form relationships, and whether it's work relationships or personal relationships, all of this comes back and affects you, and people are still affected by things that happened in their childhood that they never talked about.
Exactly. And that's what happened to me. People are affected by things that happen in their childhood if they're not given a chance to talk about it or to even address some of these things that go on. Everybody don't respond to trauma in the same way, but if you don't address it, you make it even worse.
Right. And so with this being, you're dealing with mental health.
Yes.
You're dealing with school work, as you said, they can come and they can get help with their school work. So you made it an all-encompassing place for our kids today.
It had to be, because we like to treat the total child, the whole child, which includes the parents too.
Whoa, look at you getting the parents involved. Okay.
Yes.
Because I know I have a lot of friends that are teachers, and they say that is their biggest problem, is that these parents are not involved today. They, regardless of what's going on, whether your child is a conduct problem or your child is having a scholastic problem, you can't get the parents involved.
Right. Having the parents involved is a very important piece. And like we say, in order to be a part of Affirming Youth, we're not coming to fix you. We can't fix anybody. You make the goals, you make the plans, you make the intentions, and we partner with you to meet those intentions. That means that the mother, the father, whoever lives in the house has to be involved so it could be successful, because like I said before, it's not what we coming to do for you, it's what you're going to do for yourself.
And where are you guys located, and is it open to anyone in the South Florida area?
Right now we're located at 150 Northwest 79th Street in Miami. We're actually inside of a county facility, the Community Action Agency, which is a great space because it's part of the community there. We deal with children. There's an assessment that they have to take, so everybody's not a good fit for the program. It's for those kids who have been suffering with trauma, or maybe it's even bullying issues, because October is National Bullying Prevention Month, and so we target those kids. So once we do the assessment, see if they're a great fit. If they're a great fit, they could come for free. Thank God for the William R. Keenan Charitable Trust, who so graciously funded this program in order for us to do this work that we do.
And so is it just open to Miami-Dade students, or is it open for Broward students as well?
It's open for South Florida students.
All right, all right. So everybody from South Florida can come.
Yes.
If you are just tuning in, we're speaking with Jonathan Spikes. He is the founder and executive director of the Affirming Youth Foundation, a passion of his. It has been for a while. Children are a passion of his,
Yes.
in making them whole. And you mentioned about the National Bullying Prevention Month. I honestly did not realize that bullying was such a huge problem, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all made fun of people in high school or even junior high, and it was just ribbing, good-natured ribbing. It wasn't to the point that
So
it
we
is
thought.
now. Oh,
So we thought. And then later on you see that child, I remember you did this to me. Yes.
Right.
And we have to change the culture to let them know that talking about people, putting them down, making them feel bad, it is not okay.
Right.
It is not okay to do that. Bullying is really about power. And it has to be intentional. Mm-hmm. It has to be ongoing, and it's about a power struggle. That's what bullying is. It's not just calling somebody a name one time and then it goes away.
Right.
It's repeated behavior, and it's mostly to gain power over that person. That's what bullying is.
Yeah, and you know, the things that I'm talking about is we probably talked about the fact that, you know, you wore high water jeans you know,
and fun.
Right, it made fun. Well, what we thought was fun.
Yes.
And didn't realize maybe that those were the only jeans that his mom or her mom could afford.
Yeah.
Or those are only clothes or whatever. So, you know, I apologize if it came off as bullying. I was always the nice girl, though. So I wanted to be friends with everybody, and I was friends with everybody. So that wasn't my thing. But I remember good-natured ribbon. I mean, you do it to your brothers and sisters. You do it to your other friends as well.
Right. Cracking jokes.
Right, cracking
jokes.
But never anything to where kids are committing suicide, kids are not wanting to go to school, nothing like that. That's happening today.
It most certainly is. And because we didn't have the same methods back then, like they have now. We didn't have the computer. We didn't have the gram. We didn't have the book, even though most kids don't use the book
anymore.
We don't have the Snapchat.
Yes.
And when they had the Vine, we didn't have the Vine. Like we had the whatever the other one was before Facebook came about.
MySpace.
MySpace,
yes.
right. So now today the weapons that they use to hurt and harm other people verbally are more prevalent, the cell phones and everything like that. So we couldn't do a lot of the things that the kids could do now because, see, some of these things had to come out of our mouths. And so when you say something that was so hurtful, you kind of felt it yourself and you kind of feel a little shame about that. You know, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Right.
But now you could text it. You could type it. And so the close connection of it coming from your mouth, you don't feel the same about it.
And so what you're talking about is the verbal bullying more so. When I was thinking bully, I was thinking somebody who's waiting for you after the bus stop and wanting to beat you up, but that's not the case at all.
Right. Bullying is
I'm sure that happens too.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Most certainly does. But bullying is more of a power struggle. You want to exert power over the other person. That's why they try to sing you out when you want to come sit at the table. Everybody turn their back on you and everything like that because it is to exert power and control over you. That is what bullying is.
Wow. Well, how can people get in touch with Affirming Youth Foundation if you know someone or if you are someone who needs the help? How can they get in touch with you all?
Well, you can call us at 305-230-4598, or you can reach us online at www.affirmingyouth.org, or you can find us on Instagram at Affirming Youth, Twitter, Affirming_youth, and on Facebook at Affirming Youth Foundation.
Okay, and the reason why you chose the name Affirming Youth?
Because we are affirming, making them know that they do matter, that we hear them, that we see them, and everything they're going through, it really does matter.
All right. Jonathan Spikes, the executive director and founder of Affirming Youth Foundation, thank you so much for coming in. I'll see you again soon.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
And thank you. We'll see you again soon. Don't forget to check us out on all of our social media. That is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, City of Miramar. That is our handle, City of Miramar. You can check us out each and every Wednesday right here on Good Morning Miramar. I'm Tamara G., your host. We'll see you next week.